Check 1 2. Yeah, we're live on. We are live on Facebook. Check 1 2. And looks like we're live on YouTube as well, where I moved past 666 subscribers, which, you know, there was something cool about that. It hung out for a couple days at 666, and I savored it in all its heavy metal glory, in all its tritone glory. How's everyone doing? Different shot today. Let's experiment. I've got I got 2 shots. See, there's the other one. Which do you prefer? I like this one. This picks up the lighting a little different, but I don't know. This is more natural. The other one is the other one's a Zoom camera I'm experimenting with. It's set. It's got a maybe it's set to film or something like that. Anyway, not that important. Benny Rodriguez, tra! What's up, bro? Nick says, tra! How's everyone doing? Yeah, just Meatless Monday. You know, this is one of those ones in between guests where I come on and just chat about some ideas and recipes and things. And gardening, that's the number one topic around here. We're doing some gardening. By we, I mean mostly my other half. But I was out there with her, getting some mulch down and some topsoil. And I go out and risk the COVID morons at Lowe's, the maskless. Suddenly, there's some maskless people again. I want to see if y'all are experiencing that too. It's been great, months and months of people really, but all of a sudden, and I think, I don't know, but maybe it's part of the vaccines are out there, and some people don't understand quite how they work, and they're rushing out the next day with no mask, no nothing. And then you have people who never wanted to wear a mask, and this is their perfect excuse. They're going like, who cares? Everyone has a vaccine. I'm going to do what I want. Anyway, we'll talk about that, but that's when I've been out there at the Lowe's and Home Depot, but I went the other day and it was pouring, which was great because it separated the wheat from the chaff, and I got to get a bunch of stuff. Hey, what's up, Frank Bellina? You're asking when should you plant basil? That's a good question. I think a little later in the spring, though. I think that's a little bit more of a, April, May even. We could look that up. But that's one that I think we've bought that one as a starter. I think we grew that from seed. So, okay, it says you could plant it pretty much anytime over several months. I just pulled this up. Basil is not the least bit finicky. Okay, you can enjoy it all summer long. Earliest time is 2 weeks after the last frost, and it can be planted all the way into summer. Yeah, that's what I thought. I knew you can do it pretty late in the game, but they're saying even earlier than I thought. This is, I just randomly Googled. Yeah, but you want to get some basil happening. It grows, late into the year, and it's an annual. So that means you got to keep planting it every year. But yeah, so we have 2 types of parsley, some thyme, a couple other things. Um, hey, Scott Fisher, what's up? We're on a couple different communication platforms. Kind of like that Wired article I just read. Oh man, anyone read Wired? That's one of the first few things one of the few kind of printed things I still read, and I read a couple of electronic magazines and some sound reinforcement type things that I get for free. But anyway, I read reading Wired, and article in there about the Internet of Things and the CCTV in most cities around the world, and the license analysis software that's really really good. These cameras that scan your license, and that are on bridges, and of course states with toll booths. That's how they pay. Many of them now. Um, anyway, this article looked at all these things and looked at how they're all. There's a couple people doing software to pull them all together, so that including all of the satellite stuff and the military gathered information, and just pulling it together into one giant big thing, which they haven't really pulled off. But there's many difficulties, of course. But interesting article, and some of it I'm kind of an agnostic on that stuff. I is that the right word? Maybe I'm more of a real politic. It is what it is. It's here. We're not going backwards from this science fiction movie we're in. This um, high tech kind of world. Anyway, tell me your thoughts about that, and somehow it all ties in. So let's see some comments. Steve Hershey, good to see you, bro, or at least see your messages. Kendall Scott's in the house. What's up? How do I? Oh yeah, let me click here and I can. Hey, what's up? I can see Basil Hayden. Durga McBroom, awesome. She is fantastic. Kevin, you just said hi to her on a chat or something. Is she? It's funny because we did a chat about a year ago. I was going through old hard drive stuff and Facebook lists. Maybe not quite a year, but many months ago. It was definitely after George Floyd. So that was when was that? March, April. So it was I think June or July. But we did a really great. We were interviewed by this other guy, and he was kind of talking about we were talking about racism in general, and the USA, and USA versus England and stuff like that, but also in the prog world, and like what we've encountered as of artists of African descent, and kind of some of the comments you get. Very interesting area for me. So hi to Durga if you're still in a chat or something. The McBroom sisters, they're badass. I think they got an album out. I knew it was coming out over the past couple of months. Scott says you've not left your state. Yeah, so you can't weigh in. Smart move, man. I've slowly come around to that. I leave strategically. Usually like tonight, Monday night at like 8:30, fantastic time to shop. No one's right. Everyone shops on the weekend, and Monday's just weird. People start shopping again the next day or two. And I've asked like supermarket people all this, so they say, yeah, don't ever come in on a Sunday. Of course, that's amateur hour, or Saturday morning. Sunday night is pretty good though. Almost no one there. Anyway, you're right. Just stay the fuck in and get it all delivered, right, Scott? Um, I'm still not understanding the Basil Hayden. Is that a Tom Hayden joke? Kendall, what's up, bro? We're in the Matrix for sure. I know, right? The Matrix, secretly one of the blackest movies to ever come down the pike, right? We've talked about that. Speaking of race and culture, which of course is an important topic in America today. We have this trial. We have more shootings. another black guy shot in that same state. And there's did he try to get away from the cops? Did he drive away? He went back to his car. All these things important to consider. But white guys do that too, and then don't get shot. That's what's funny. There's always that. Well, he tried to fight the officer. Granted, points off. Bad choice. But white people make those bad choices too. And somehow the cops whip out their manual and they go, let's see, page section A. Oh, here it is, section C-101B. Okay, suspect should be apprehended alive. Okay, I like this. It says using non-lethal force at your disposal are, okay, rubber bullets, taser, okay, shouted commands, and retreating until backup comes. There's all this stuff we can do. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, the cops don't have that manual, apparently. People that look like me are stopped. Man, it's fucked up. But I see, though, how we just have two visions in this country. Because on Fox, I'm sure all they're talking about is, well, this guy had, he had a rap sheet. Because he did. He had, some stuff. But it's all they're talking about. And they leave out that, again, I'll say it every day. Lots of white people have rap sheets, too. And they're pulled over, too. And they go home. Or they're go into the lockup overnight, or they do a lot of stuff that's alive. It's, but again, that Fox universe, and that's not even a black and white thing. I know black people who watch that shit. I know people who have the Candace Owens vibe. I know black people who buy into the whole thing and say everyone they had it coming. They shouldn't have fought the cop. I'll agree 10% of the way. No, you shouldn't fight a cop. You shouldn't try to get a cop's gun. You shouldn't. You shouldn't run back to your car and reach down under the seat. That's not good. And I wish fellow progressives would say that once in a while. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good to charge the cop and reach into your pocket while you're doing it. No. But again, white people do it all the time. and the cops somehow. Anyway, so not going to belabor that, but only to say that that race is all around us. And on a positive note, again, the Matrix, right? I mean, the Oracle, she's black. Morpheus and Tank and a lot of the real important characters. So it's kind of like this really black movie with the two white leads carrying, their story, their narrative, but really beautifully done. Thank you, Wachowski sisters. And, we when these movies came out, they were the Wachowski brothers, but they found their inner journey, and they're now both the Wachowski sisters. And I can't wait for them to come up with the new, right? They're working on a new Matrix movie that pulls it all together. But that shit is so on point, and that movie has so many lessons in it about what I was talking about, surveillance and the Internet of Things and virtual reality. And we're going through that now with the blow-up of Oculus and all this stuff. And it ties in with why we're here every week with food, because you've got these 3D printed foods now, these 3D printed steaks that some of them are made of weird animal petri dish material, and some of them are plant-based. And so there's all kinds of, 10 years from now, right? It's just going to be Star Trek. So I kind of just accept that that's where we are. Benjamin Davis, what's up, bro? Yeah, he was 20 years old. Learning disabled. I didn't see that. Apparently she was trying to tase. Well, I know, I heard that thing. That she said taser, but how do you fuck that up? Seems like they only make mistakes with us, right? Oops. But Ben, you're right, and to your point, outstanding warrant for murder. But even that, white people don't get killed when they're being, uh, what's the guy's name? I'm not even gonna say his name. The one who shot up all the black people in the church down in South Carolina, right? He was wanted for murder, and the cops went and got him, and very famously took him to McDonald's or something like that. So even with a warrant for murder, yeah, you're right. Um, but I mean that's not even an excuse. Um, Kevin says, "Don't understand why cops are eager to pull where most used to have." Yeah, well, they're eager to pull because they get away with it. If that's part one, they see a national trend for decades. They see a national situation where cops walk, investigations happen, and nothing goes on, and cops get their pension and their retirement and all that, and hardly anything happens. So there's no disincentive, I guess. Number one, and there's just a cheapening of black lives for you know quite some time. Um, yeah, man. So, all right. Well, we can come back to that, but we're here to talk about the positive results of a plant-based diet and doing that. So here I am on camera two. We got camera one and camera two. So all right, very cool. Um, see some messages coming in. Matthew likes it on Twitter. Thank you, Mike. Oh, so thank you, Matthew. Also, Mike. Where's Mike? Mike's on YouTube. Okay, cool. Well, I love it when folks are jumping on the different platforms. Um, what did you eat today? We always have that as one of our features. I had really nice brothy mushroom soup with just a little bit of kale in it and a couple pieces of tempeh. Very simple, just some protein and some broth and some veggies. Um, Ba, 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 ba. So, okay. Okay. Um, so, yeah, that was lunch. Keeping it pretty simple. Eating a lot of fruit. I've said that, trying to eat more raw. I've had some mangoes, some pineapples, some, what do you call those? Little cutie tangerines the other day. Some apples, which is the most local one. Oso, hello from West Asheville. How are you, my friend? Durga's with Dave Kirshner. That's great. Yeah, Dave is always. Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of those Dave. He just pops on live. Exactly, 2 in the morning, and he's doing mixes, and he kind of shares that process with people. It's always fun. Um, okay. Basil Hayden alcohol. Yeah, I'm ignorant on that. I was today years old. Don't know what that is. Um, yeah, Kendall, enough of this nonsense. Let's just put the Matrix on. I agree. Now I gotta watch that shit. Who did the music on that? It was great. Without a systemic change, yeah, we can't see any difference. You're right, Scott. I mean, it's. Oh, hey, Robin's here. Is Robin here? Are you home? Is Robin checking in from a mobile destination? Um, so okay, so some lunches. Ben Davis, what'd you have for lunch, bro? Your amazing stream of recipes has slowed down a little bit. Bean burritos, can't go wrong. And one of the themes is eating on a budget, And so I said we make a lot of simple things around here, soups and just steamed greens and the one kind of packaged food we've been enjoying lately. is these tamales, these very simple tamales. I wish they just wrapped them in the corn and, well, they would fall apart, I guess, in the freezer. But they're very low packaging. There's just one plastic wrap. Maybe it's even biodegradable. I don't know. A lot more of these things are as time goes on. But either way, just one piece, and then it's wrapped in the corn husk. Very traditional kind of tamale. Been loving those. It's just this new company I found, and they're really cheap. I don't know, 2 for $5 or 3 for 8 or something like that. But just really simple. Burritos, though, we've made those from scratch. But things like burritos, tacos, we love Mexican food, and I swear I'm going to do a what's the word, throwback Tuesday on some videos that that we did in Mexico City of some amazing amazing place in Mexico City that's a all vegan food truck, which there were several of in Mexico City, which still is kind of an amazing thing. But you're okay. Ben's in Lynchburg. Okay, or have you been there the whole time, bro? The last month? Well, all the best. Hope everything's stable. Single vegan restaurant, long ways away. Okay, and you had to have a cheese sandwich. I hear you. And some Middle East downtown. Okay, that's great. That's great. Scott with the I just saw it. Oh yeah, chopped kale salad and espresso. That's super exciting. Yeah, well that's pretty plant based. Yeah. Hey, Kat, with the vegetable curry lentil stew, coconut milk and veggie meatballs. That's great. That's great. Well, it's happening, folks. Everywhere I turn, I see, more of this stuff popping up, and just restaurants. Um, Restaurants popping up with new ideas. And, I always touch base on these companies. And I guess I give the excuse because I'm not saying go out and start buying a bunch of Green Giant food and everything. But someone had posted a couple of days ago that they had. Oh, my buddy Dean had posted that he was having one of these dishes, and I get it. They're in a package, and now we have to push these companies to make these packages. What's the word? Biodegradable, and from corn and hemp and things like that. I think that, I think there's a chance for that. I think there's quite, good response from these companies. But in the meanwhile, there's a slice of America that's going to eat frozen foods, and I'm just a realist about that. We're not going to get to them, and it might be a busy mom with 2 jobs and 3 kids, so that half of the meals have to be prepared. That said, I'm just happy that there's a choice now. That there's, you could go in, and if you are going to buy these packaged foods, there's this trend. The other thing that happens with this trend is you might try something and say, "Oh my God, that was pretty fulfilling. That was quinoa or Joaquin or however you might say it if you've never seen it before." But it might mean you've opened up the door and you've said, "Oh my God, I'll try to cook that on my own." So they have these protein bowls, Green Giant. Who would have ever thought? And they are with quinoa and different seitan and different things like that. Then they have these cauliflower crusts, which I've talked about this before, but that's just a mind blowing moment. I mean, There's even natural food stores where a cauliflower crust is still too weird, right? If you go into some natural food stores, they're going to go, oh, yeah, we can special order those. They're still kind of on the fringe. And yet here's Green Giant rocking it hard and kind of showing these all-American meals. So, it's exciting because this trickles down. And again, if someone at home will now take some cauliflower and try to make something new out of it, then we've had some success. That's always what I want this to lead towards. More people making things from scratch, growing some food, and getting things locally if you can. If we can get those kind of three things out of this. Okay, things like this, the spiral butternut squash. Very easy to just make that. You just get one of those little saladacos or one of those little spiral tools that you can put zucchini or squash through. But I love, again, that it exists because some busy mom or dad is going to try this out and say, oh, my God, my 3-year-old who has not been able to eat pasta, or my 8-year-old who's not been able to eat pasta since they're 3 because they have gluten intolerance, suddenly we can make rotini or we can do some udon or some spaghetti thing. So anyway, kind of cool. I just happened across one of the new Green Giant things a couple of days ago. A friend of mine had it and said it was great, so thought I would share that. How's anyone doing with gardening? Because we're doing we got some stuff happening. And Robin's watching from a remote location. Our Asheville population went up by 2 this week. We got some family members who moved here. One with 2 legs, one with 4. Hello, Sharon. Hello. Sabine is here, yeah. What's up, Sabine? Cauliflower flower. Yeah, man, it's everywhere, bro. Eric Spagard, what's up, my brother? Yeah, how about that? Huh? Even Wawa. I mean, right? Wawa, who won't let you walk in with your AR-15 hanging out, but they'll sell a quinoa kale salad. How anti-American is that, right? So no, it's about having options. It's great. Options are good. Tim Longfellow, how are you, my friend? I'm doing okay, ups and downs. I was saying to a friend of mine before, if I slow the fuck down and just do some quiet meditating on the back porch and listen to the birds, it's very healthy on some level. But then some of the depressing shit comes floating in because suddenly there's space. Because usually, most of the time, I've got so much going on. I was counting it up the other day, and I'm doing easily 7 official streams a week. And I thought, holy shit, how did it get to this? And that doesn't count 3 students right now. And, and so I've kind of, it's a bummer because I've gotten away from the impromptu kind of politics streams. I used to just come on here and talk about shit. I want to get back to that. That's always fun. But when I'm insanely busy, then that sucks because you get burnt out, you get exhausted. So I'm trying to balance taking time off, but not going down the depression rabbit hole, but also balancing having too much to do, which has been difficult. So thanks for asking. Let's see other comments. Let's see, Ben. Ryan, what's up, my friend? Had a nice veggie pita. Hey, Ryan, I'm taking a survey on people with long COVID. I hate to put you on the spot, but you've been public about this before. How are you doing, man? I just want to ask 2 questions. Ryan Walsh, do you have symptoms still from your recovery from COVID, number 1? And number 2, roughly remind me when you had COVID. Was it, I forget, was it last June, July, or was it earlier? because I'm trying to get a feel for the handful of people I know, and I think I know about 10 people at this point that had side effects. So I'm kind of gonna reach out to all of them and see if what's up 3 months later. You had a nice veggie pita. Ryan, I think you told me there's a new veggie place in Keyport, New Jersey. That's exciting. Good news. Research about Block Party. Oh, Block Party's great. I love how they kind of took a little bit of kind of The Cure and some Fugazi or something and glued it together. Great band. What's the guy? Kele Oloreke? What's his name? Yeah, Nigerian guy. He's great. Yeah. Nigerian descent. He's English. Born in London. Kele Okereke. Kele Okereke. Yeah, I always have trouble saying his name. Genius, though. Really great singer and, you know. Cool band. I was just thinking about them the other day. Let's see. Cauliflower flour. Yeah, good stuff. Conagra is a corporate giant. Yeah, they sell some decent products. I know, Kevin. At some point, it's fucked up because as Kendall said, we live in the Matrix, man. What do you? I keep going back to that Wired article I just read. But Conagra, they own a lot of shit. Again, if we can get inside though, and if they have positive people working in there that you can get to, that can start doing, some positive stuff within the giant company, then, then you can, maybe get some action. Here's some of ConAgra's major brands. Act 2, what is that? That sounds familiar. Is that the chili? This is the popcorn. Okay. Hunt, Healthy Choice, Marie Callender's, Orville Redenbacher's, Slim Jim. Snap into a Slim Jim. Ready Whip, Egg Beaters, Hebrew National, P.F. Chang's. Did not know that. Chef Boyardee, Home Menu, and Bertolli Ready Meals. So that's just some of what ConAgra owns. And it is what it is, right? I just think all we have left is to fight for regulations and make sure, that on the growing side, there's regulations for the farming industry, for the agriculture industry to not wreck our waterways, to not do the things they've gotten away with for years about pesticides and runoff water and all that. I'm a big regulations guy, and that's the only way to survive in this now century of corporate hegemony. You gotta have rules. You gotta have fucking guardrails, right? You gotta have surprise inspections. You gotta have independent testing of their foods, of their items. You gotta have penalties. Okay, if some company is doing dumping or something illegal or mistreating farm workers, then we should slam them hard, So I think we're not there on a lot of that stuff, but I like that. There's a lot of attention paid, but that's this all. A lot of people. I have some friends who love to say, well, I don't like politics, and why do you make everything? Well, that's where politics is. The fucking food you eat. That's it. That's politics. Having proper regulations so you have safe food. There you go. That's kind of my favorite topics all rolled into one. So the anti-regulatory, read modern conservative kind of action is very destructive to food safety and to this whole movement that's happening. But despite that push, again, I think there's a generational thing going on where you read these interviews, you see these people who are now working at these companies. They're now 40 years old, which doesn't sound like much, but that means you were born in 1980. That means you came of age during, internet and screens and stuff were there as soon as you were a teenager. But you also came of age with all these different natural foods and natural approaches around you. So now you're at some company, and it's not crazy idea when sustainability comes up in the board meetings, or the words GMO or locally sourced or locavore or any of these things come up. So I think we're seeing some little changes. We're even seeing the changes in a difficult environmental background like China. I mean, I was just reading also some stuff in China, and reading about this very popular sci-fi novelist in China who has been talking to a lot of the people in the government about futuristic visions of redesigning cities and doing things in a sustainable manner, and pretty interesting. Like they're literally talking to science fiction people and saying, "Hey, you had a great idea in that massively popular novel that you wrote." You know, and some of these people are using science ideas in science fiction, so now it's going backwards, and they're trying to solve shit because they got some massive crowded cities over there. So they're trying some environmental solutions too that we could learn from. Pre-cut veggies is great for us physically challenged and making food from scratch. There you go. Oh, so thank you, man. There's a reason for any of these products. Kevin Ritchie, your daughter has lactose intolerance. Yeah, well, you know my stance, man, and I think it's based in the math. All humans have cow lactose intolerance. And humans kind of have a lactose intolerance after babyhood. Look those up. Those are facts. We stop producing the levels of lactase that we do as a baby. Lactase is the enzyme that locks in perfectly with lactose, exactly. And it's digestive, capacity from lactase. And so your daughter's normal. She's not a cow. So, I think what happens with other humans that we don't identify as lactose intolerant, two things happen. A, we ignore symptoms. I've got a good friend who is congested all the time, decades now. I've known this person 30 years. Always congested, always sniffly, always has a cold, always, joking, very muffled because his head is filled with congestion. And he eats dairy, when I can observe it, just about with every meal. So I think we ignore symptoms. You get those symptoms from other things as well. That can be a gluten intolerance. It could be a peanut intolerance. It could be an intolerance to onions. Some people get a lot of congestion. So don't get me wrong. There's other things, but I think one of the first things on dairy is ignoring the symptoms. We've got epidemic levels in this country of irritable bowel syndrome and kind of digestive ailments, and the prevalence of things like Pepsid AC and Tums and Nexium and all these prescription level antacids. It's like, wow, why are we so acidic? And instead of kind of thinking about that in a macro sense, we just kind of say, yay, medical science, there's something we could take. And so I think there's a lot of ignored symptomatic dairy stuff out there. Unbelievable results I've seen with people, thousands and thousands of people just quitting dairy for 3 weeks or something. I've seen people turn around stuff they were told they would never have relief from. I've seen people improve their asthma, certainly their allergic reactions. I've seen people who think they're allergic to pollen every year have that go away when they remove the even larger alert kind of histamine response and stuff that milk and dairy products can stir up. And milk and dairy just create so much mucus that whatever actual other allergies you have, the whole ball starts rolling a little bit more. So, I always love to talk about dairy. I'm glad you found that out about your daughter. That's great. But know that she's just normal. And some people are a little quicker to kind of identify, like, okay, that was it. But again, like I'm saying, I've seen so many other problems people are having that traces back to milk. I was reading a couple months ago because someone I know had this endometriosis, and it reminded me that I knew 20 years ago that there's a line there between dairy and endometriosis, and with a lot of things that have to do with estrogen, progesterone, estradiol, hormonal imbalance, especially in women, extra sensitive to those mammalian hormones. So what's beautiful is that it's April 2021, and we have so many amazing. I mean, that's the kicker right there. You know, there's nothing you can't make from the amazingly rich cuisines of the world that have dairy. Actually, a lot of cuisines of the world do not have dairy, but of the ones that do, it's so easy. That's what's funny. Every supermarket now in the most remote place has soy milk and oat milk and hemp milk and all these, 6 choices, right? And 5 choices of vegan cheese, and everything's available now. Or there's recipes on teaching you how to make almond milk or different things that they've been using for centuries. So that's what's really great is you don't have to miss anything. You don't have to miss a favorite food or your grandmother's favorite recipe or anything like that. So Scott says Chicago spring, right? You have to wait. All right, you got to wait till you're sure. When is it certain in Chicago? May 1st? I know. Shit gets crazy there. But you could do like Sabine and grow it on the porch or indoors. She's got her vertical garden happening. And that's funny. Sabina says, what's paging? Because Sharon, so paging, that would be like a beeper, Sabina. Like, remember the little beepers? I'm looking around like I have one. Here's what, beep, beep, beep. No, I remember getting a beeper, man. And I got a beeper late in the game. Like, I'm always a late adopter. And I remember I got a beeper. Man, I was so chuffed because I was touring. And this way, my manager could reach me at any time and say, call me. I had a calling card, I had a working assets calling card, and a beeper. And I was so chuffed suddenly, this whole electronic world. But I got it so late in the game that I think I only had it for like one tour, for like one little 3 or 4 month period. Because then flip phones were, they were already a thing. But then I finally got one. So I only had a beeper for that little window. But remember the if you were a beeper store, I mean you took it on the chin. Okay, let's hydrate. Tim Longfellow, yeah. Slowing down the space for thought. Kevin Ritchie, carry a gun while waiting. There might be a deadline. Okay, well, unfortunately, a lot of people are carrying a gun. Pick up the beige. Courtesy phone. RB Kratz and Lori. Kratz. RB Kratz, short for sauerkrauts. And Lori. What's up, RB? No, of course, it's not for sauerkraut, but hopefully you love sauerkraut like I do. Dandelions were brought to the U.S. as a food crop. Yeah, love it. Love dandelion greens. Love it. Kelly's got a feud with Oasis. I did not know that. Who doesn't? Kevin Ritchie. Damn immigrants. Yeah, you're right. And I'm one of them. Dandelion wine that Jeff Buckley sang about so well. Kevin, off to find some food. Okay, well, please do, my friend. And please hope you're doing better soon. Sabine, yeah, Berlin. I love it. And I can't wait to come play there, do some electronic music. Which I was actually talking to someone about. And then last year happened. Ben Davis. Okay, okay, arguing with a friend about regulations. Okay, Ben, shocked because friend. Yeah, I know. But see, they do like regulations because if for instance, um, you can always I don't know. It's absurd, isn't it, bro? Why are we even why do we even spend a minute on these people? But well, because we're intellectual seekers and we want to communicate. But one of the things I say to my conservative friends, and I have quite a few of them, I ask them because it's a soft spot if they've got investments. And almost I've never met a conservative who doesn't, right? Because they think they're going to be millionaires, even the ones that are not affluent. But the ones who are affluent certainly stay that way with stocks and bonds. So very usually they say, of course. And I say, well, at the end of the quarter, if you'd like to, receive a payout from your tech portfolio, let's say you call your broker and you say, hey, the tech portfolio did really well this quarter. I'd like, and I'll say to this person, do you like that you can get that payment and that it's, it's going to be a healthy percentage? Well, yeah. What's your point? Well, that's because of regulations. Because we have a well-regulated, or at least somewhat regulated, stock market, and we have these rules, you are profiting. Those rules go in your favor because they have a pretty laissez-faire, open market kind of a platform for your day traders and your brokers and whatnot. But there are regulations involved that help you. They just don't get it though. That somehow that doesn't matter, you know. But yeah, you ask them about their children eating food and knowing that it's at least within some ballpark of safety. Isn't that something we should celebrate? And then they change the subject, and they always say, "Oh, well, the free market will, if we just did away with regulations, there'd be no poison food because no one would buy it." That kind of nonsense. I know, bro. It's hang in there, Ben. We're I know. What's my take on household products? Sometimes animal grease and clean products. Yeah, I tend to buy as plant based as I can, and then I use some old school stuff. I just bought some Comet the other day. Psh, Comet powder. I'm big on packaging too, and the thing with Comet, it comes in that cardboard tin, like a round tin. It's not a tin, it's cardboard, and it's got a little bit of metal on the top, and that you pour through. Wow, such little packaging, no plastic, and it works great. It's great for cleaning the shower and the tub and the toilet bowls and all these things. So all those fancy toilet bowl cleaners that are plastic, I'm getting away from that. So, but I think I use things like Pine Sol. That doesn't have animal product in it, does it? I use seventh generation stuff, and they're starting to do stuff in recycled plastic and all that. So I can't think of any household products. Tell what. Give me a clue on that. But I really read stuff, and I don't buy anything that has gelatin in it, or I don't know what other animal ingredients. But I'm all ears. Let's see. Yeah. So on the regulations, car companies would eventually clean up because customers wanted it. No, exactly. A bunch of customers would not have wanted. Ironically, though, Sharon, it's going pretty well in in China, at least. India, a little slower. But in China, remarkable steps forward. They've got a number of these full-on green uh, car plants, car manufacturing plants that are doing a host of sustainable new procedures and recapturing wastewater and doing all this stuff. They got a long way to go. It's a big country, 1.4 billion, right? Both of them. But percentage-wise, the amount of their new factories that are built with a green, solar, and capturing waste sort of ideas. I know it's shocking, but again, where do I get this? As I said, I read Wired pretty regularly for years now, and they tend to report a lot on Chinese tech, and a side of it you don't usually hear. Again, the article I was just reading the other day reminded me how capitalist China actually is. Like the Fox TV kind of scary American view of China is it's just a bunch of commies and blah blah blah. And what's funny is it's quite capitalism that they've embraced. You know, with their Communist Party control of a lot of the information flow, and there's a lot of definitely marbling in of totalitarianism. Don't get me wrong, but what's interesting is how much of their explosion has been introducing, free market ideas and investment and innovation. So there's a lot of that happening in China, where if you have a really good idea, you can actually get some stuff done. So trying to find my comments. Oh, here we go. Hey, Jen, how are you? Jen Fair is on YouTube. Thank you, Jen. Thank you for subscribing as well. I saw your name pop up before, and I don't know what number you were, but I was just 666. So, what did you have for lunch today, Jen? I've seen a couple amazing menu items that your dear other half has sent me, and I love it. You're just such a great cook, and you've cooked. I've had some great vegan stuff at your house for years. So knowing that you're full on unleashed on that on that whole area of cooking is pretty awesome. And you all have that awesome yard to grow some stuff. That's the best part, right? Growing your own. Okay. Scott says, yeah, bullshit. Bulk of those companies would put profit over any of that. Yeah, exactly. They need, humans need structure. They need guardrails. It's just, what's fascinating to me is if you don't understand that, it means you just haven't studied history. That's which is the modern conservative too much of the time, right? But if you just look back at, ancient tribal stuff in Africa, ancient tribal stuff in with the Inuit people, with Indian people, with the Aztecs and Mayans. Look at ancient Rome. Look at ancient Greece, and the attempts to kind of hold together societies, to govern people. We could dream all we want of a world without rules. Everyone gets there as a teenager. They think, enough stupid rules. I'm thinking of a lyric to some song about stupid rules. It's a real punk rock ethos, which I came up with. And the rules, man. And I get it. The rules are fucked up. The man is fucked up. I get it. That's a purely supportable emotion. But then you come to food, which is, the topic here. And if there's no rules, if there wasn't health inspectors, we'd be back in the dark ages where people got sick a lot and died. You had people get sick a lot and die now, but you know what I'm saying. You had these rampant outbreaks of botulism and food poisoning and all these things. You had cholera, right? Cities that were leveled by cholera because there wasn't rules. You have the city of Edinburgh, which, go read about that. They got crushed by a couple of cholera outbreaks because they were using the same lake that's right there, the same bay in Edinburgh. It's a bay, not a lake, where they were taking water for food and putting waste a few miles away. Of course, it all mingled, and Chicago did the same thing. There wasn't the proper regulations for removing sewage waste into Lake Michigan. And they said, well, we're doing it far away. It's water. It's eventually going to... And huge cholera outbreak in Chicago, too. So, I don't know. But we need rules. We need science governing what corporations do. And I'm happy that I'd like to err on the side of too many regulations. In fact, yeah, too bad. And I've been a business owner. I co-owned a business for over a decade, so wading through the paperwork and the permits and all the stuff we had to continually stay on top of. But you know what? We just did it because we knew it was for keeping our employees safe and keeping our customers in a safe environment. So, system suppression is the driver of capitalism. Yes, that's a good T-shirt. Nettles are good, yeah, and endometriosis is bad. Miyoko's is great, yeah. So, all right, before we do some food news, let's. Scott says, biggest memory of the beepers. That weird feeling the thing went off. That you just become addicted. I know. Little did we know if we'd only stopped right then. You know, right. What a time. I'm floating off into a cloudy dream of comfort because I'm thinking about what it was like before having to check my damn phone. Not nearly enough. Yes, you're right, Frank. In the United States, finance is baby steps. I know. We're lucky for what's there, but you're right. It's been eviscerated, starting with the Reagan years, and then Bush, and then Clinton, and then Obama with his Wall Street people. I think the guy that was just there was too idiotic to even, know which way was up with that. But certainly that's a bipartisan problem, destroying our regulations. Sharon says avoiding hustle products. Okay, personal care stuff. Okay, yeah, certainly some of that stuff has gelatin and urea. What's it? Urea acid, uric acid. Is that the stuff? I got to be checked on that. But there is a sterates and steric acid and stuff can sometimes come from animals. So yeah, that's an area to look out for. Sabina says social beings we want to belong to. Yeah, he's been deciding the belong to from the not belong. It's as simple as that. Uranus Eibelsfeld. Uranus Eibelsfeld. Yeah. To be or not to be. Yeah. So, as you know, I always look at Veg News and I look at Veganuary and I go to the PETA website and there's all this cool stuff. There's Vegetarian Times is still doing some great things. I used to subscribe to that. But yeah, since I've been doing this, I just a couple times a week flip through some news and it's just amazing how many all these mainstream chefs and stuff that are trying different things and talking about stuff. It's really great. And also what I'm seeing is the next. I've seen this now 3 or 4 times recently. Kind of like, here's how to do it right, like going plant-based. And I love that. I love that there's now a discussion of like, okay, you know what, humans need a spectrum of nutrients. They need a spectrum of types of food components. In other words, we need fat. You have to have fat, and that's one of the first ones I think we should mention. But getting people to learn that you cannot. It's an essential. That's why we call them essential fats. It's essential to have fat. It's essential to have vitamin C. Okay, humans cannot manufacture vitamin C. Maybe someone can help. Is it all other mammals create vitamin C, or is it all other land animals? I forget. But I know we're one of the, if not the only one, we're one of the few that cannot make our own vitamin C, which is a weird hiccup. Here it is. I'm just pulling up vitamin C biosynthesis on nature.com. So there are other animals who cannot make vitamin C. Humans cannot make vitamin C, as well as some other animals. But it's so important. Neither animals nor plants can live without vitamin C. Therefore, it's surprising that some animals, some fishes and birds, and a few mammals, including guinea pigs and humans, have lost the capability to produce it. And that's, again, I've read about this in the past. I'm just pulling the details back now, but it's a mystery to science. It's science why this minority of organisms has stopped synthesizing vitamin C. Very interesting. So, but anyway, to my point of you need fat, you need vitamin C, you need protein, you need certain amino acids, you need fiber, the way the human body is constructed. You need those fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A and D, which we know a lot of people are deficient in, and we know are so important for COVID immunity, right? You keep seeing that pop up in articles. They're not totally sure what the relationship is, but they know, wow, those two are super important. So we need all these things, and I love that there's now this new attitude from the mainstream. I'm seeing it in whatever Time magazine or Oprah's magazine or different medical journals, New York Times, just kind of approaching now plant-based diet with a little more seriousness than they did in some previous decades. It's good. It's not brand new, but over the past decade or so, more and more you're just seeing like, okay, you know what? This is a good diet. Let's approach it at face value and really talk about how, you just need to diversify, eat fruits, eat vegetables, eat, good sources of protein and fats and things. So I love that it's not, there was always a chunk of society that no matter what would just kind of roll their eyes and say, there's no way to do this properly. So, so I'll put a link in here of Vegetarian Times, and they have it's kind of a paywall kind of a thing, but pretty good magazine still. And they've got a guide to just going veg and doing it a little more sensibly. Because some people just quit and start eating, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, So I always worry about that. Because then people around them have an easy out to say, oh, that didn't work out too well. Well, no mono diet does, So good old Veg Times, which I used to subscribe to. I was talking about that last week because I had my buddy who was the editor of High Times. There was a time when I subscribed to High Times, Vegetarian Times, and Chili Lover or something like that. Chili Pepper, I think it was called. Yeah, a whole magazine dedicated to hot peppers. Haven't read that in years. And I would get Heavy Metal and Guitar World. Like those are my five kind of, And here we are 30 years later. And those are still some of my favorite things. Electronic Musician was one of them. Electronic music, vegetarian news, hot peppers, and guitars. Still my favorite things. So, catching up on comments here. Tell my ex-wife to watch your broadcast. Okay, look out for Lori with your last name. Okay, I will do, Kevin. Thank you. Yes, Sabine, we can make our own vitamin C. Of course, yes, externally. But yes, and you know what I'm saying, though. Inside our bodies, we used to be able to make it. Strange, Was it when the aliens genetically modified us to harvest the gold? Who knows? When that'll start some trouble. When did it happen? So yeah. Anyway, couple things that I saw on the news. Um, in the news, I was talking to my sisters about this, and Robin. Exciting new restaurant opening. If those of you in New York, in Brooklyn, if anyone's near there, there's a yet another kind of cuisine centered restaurant, which is always cool when it's a cuisine that people don't think of as veg friendly. Food very near and dear to my heart and my uh, uh, background. Caribbean restaurant, and in Brooklyn, where I lived for 2 years. So it's an all vegan place. Looks like a delicious cauliflower roast there. And they've just got all this awesome stuff. Aunts at Uncle's, it's called. So, and lots of cool stuff that we're seeing pop up, like purple cauliflower, hearts of palm, all these quote unquote new ingredients, just egg. So it's great to see restaurants picking this stuff up and taking it to the next level, where they are using things like just egg and bringing it to cuisines so that people can, kind of see how something works in context. So thought that was cool. In the bizarre news, I saw this. Kim Kardashian is now cooking instructor. That's crazy. Like she has her own, her own little how to make your own vegan stuff during some show that she's involved in. Who knew? I know she's dabbled with vegan for quite a few years. She's gone in and out of it, and she's kind of a flexitarian. It seems like she does it like, I don't know, in the spring or when she's on a diet or when she's at home. Whatever it is, it's kind of cool because they are influencers. They influence other people for better or worse. We could go all day on the collapse of society and the social, what's that? The Social Network, that movie. And I'm highly critical of it all, but if you are going to influence someone and the way to influence, and you do influence them to think about their diet, to read a few books, to ponder animal suffering, then okay, I how can I complain? That's good influence. So, but anyway, they seem into it on some level. Kylie Jenner has a vegan skin line, a skincare line. And Kendall Jenner has another vegan oral care brand. So who knows? It's a cool thing. But I didn't know she was going to teach. I don't know. Are you going to learn about some waffles from Kim Kardashian? Anyway, interesting stuff. So let's go back to your comments. The mice, they ordered the world being built. That's true. That's very true. So long, and thanks for the fish. Good point, Sabine. Zaphod Beeblebrox would know where the what's up with the vitamin C. So, has anyone seen the Seaspiracy movie yet? I just cannot get to that. I'm so crazy, man. I mean, as soon as I jump off of here, there's like 3 things I gotta try to do. But no excuse. I need to watch this. But because I'm hearing the reviews now. I'm seeing and I gotta watch the Greta Thunberg one as well. That looks great. But has anyone seen the fish? What's it called? Seaspiracy or something? Seaspiracy? Here it is, yeah. Seaspiracy. S-E-A. Seaspiracy. Has anyone seen it? Because they're getting attacked, one of the attacks is that it's unfair and blah blah blah, and then another attack. I read a whole review, and the whole attack was that the guy's vegan. So he's obviously biased. Fair enough. I'm sure, but has anyone seen it? Any other thoughts? I mean, some of these things we've heard for years about how when they're fishing for other types of fish, they catch all these dolphins, right? Tuna is the famous one, and that's gone in and out of, but this movie is pointing out that in Peru, they kill more than 10,000 dolphins a year, killing them and using them as bait to catch sharks. So, people who say, well, I like shark fin soup and it's my right. Yeah, technically it is. But what are the...
Yeah, as devastating as the shark fin trade is and how gruesome it is, we also have to look at the implications it's having on a broader scale. For example, in Peru, more than 10,000 dolphins a year are being killed, chopped up and put onto longline hooks to catch sharks for the shark fin industry. And the problem there is it's out of sight, out of mind, it's offshore. Unlike Taiji, which has now had a lot of media spotlight, and the Faroe Islands, for example, they're on the shore, people can see it, you can't hide it. Whereas what happens at sea, often we find is where most of the crimes are actually happening, and nobody sees it.
Wow, pretty heavy. So on my list to watch, has anyone seen that? I've been kind of tracking their little what's the word? Well, the trailer I've seen, and I've seen a couple of the little clips, and again some of the social media like this. And as we've talked about, none of this is new. I mean, I'm sure like anyone my age, I'm 56, but if you're anywhere in that generation or within a decade of that, you were reading about the oceans and the overfishing for years now. This isn't new. So just wondering if if anyone has seen this film. So yeah, this is a pretty good one. Facts about the ocean this is pretty amazing. 90% of the world's large fish have been wiped out by fishing. Slavery in the seafood industry is reported in 47 countries. Yeah, there's a little bit of that touchdown in this documentary. Governments give $35 billion to the fishing industry every year to continue plundering our seas. Jesus Christ. According to the UN, we could solve world hunger with less than that. 250,000 sea turtles are captured, injured, or killed by the fishing industry every year in just the USA. Jesus. 46% of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is comprised of fishing nets. I'm sure you all have seen that. The big plastic gyre, the big spinning mini continent of plastic. Jeez. Wow, how about that? I didn't know that, though. Almost half of them is fishing nets, half of that plastic. 300,000 dolphins, whales, and porpoises are killed in fishing nets every year. Wow, and 30,000 sharks per hour. Enough fishing line is set every day to wrap around the earth 500 times. Whew. Almost 4 billion acres of seafloor deforested every year by trawling. Wow, yeah, dragging. I've seen that videos of those. I've definitely seen those videos. You probably have too, where you're trawling. You're just dragging this net cage contraption along the ocean floor, and it picks up everything and just filters out, just grabs it all kinds of, what's the word? Vertebrates. I forget the name of the type of fish, but it just catches everything. But it also obviously deforests the seafloor, right? It's going to wreck anything, coral or sea vegetable life or any. It's just this indiscriminate bullshit, just so we can have dirt cheap seafood. And the incapacity, I think, of our generation to kind of say, I just can't be romantic about this. This isn't Hemingway pulling a fish out of the water in some kind of, incredible romantic shot or something in your mind's eye. Like, well, my grandfather fished all the time. I think that drives us a lot in the modern world. We think that in terms of resource usage, that we can always just fall back on, well, that's the way it's been done. Well, we have 7 billion humans right now, and we're not managing the balance of resources well. Maybe we will at some point, but we're not right now. We have enough to feed everyone, feed and shelter everyone and help them out medically and all these things. We have the resources. We just don't distribute it well. So we know that. But we definitely don't have the resources to have seafood be one of the focal point sources of protein, sources of food. It's just not working. The numbers are too high, even on a planet with as much vast, biological mass as us. I'm just amazed that it's just not a problem to so many people. Yeah. So Seaspiracy. So yeah, I haven't seen it. I know I keep saying that 3 weeks in a row. I'm gonna watch it. Just been so fucking slammed. But please, if you do watch it, drop me a line. Let me know. Looks pretty incredible. Seaspiracy.
Where are the big environment groups? They are deliberately not engaging with the most important issue of all.
Can you turn off the cameras? Thanks.
Would you say there's any safety concerns for me making this film?
If you're getting in the way of their business, you are risking your own life.
I just don't see how you could possibly enforce sustainable fishing laws with all these boats.
We are at war with the oceans. If we win this war, we're going to lose it all because mankind is not able to live on this planet with the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
Where are the big environment?
What could go wrong? Let's see. Yes, that was a good Hitchhiker's reference there, Scott. I just picked up on it. But Sabine, it was good. Trigger warning, people. Trigger warning for, what was that, for the image of... That's good. That's a whole topic. That's one of my favorites. Trigger warnings. Don't go on the internet if things trigger you. That's my warning to people. Wrap yourself in bubble wrap and go under your bed. Speaking of dark-skinned immigrants, yes, here's one. Proud of it. And I want to help. I want to help all immigrants, dark, medium, and light-skinned, to come into our country legally and to do the paperwork and do the biometrics like your grandparents did. Isn't that funny? Everyone evokes, or is it invokes? Ellis Island, right? There's always what about Ellis Island? But then if you actually remind them that, yeah, Ellis Island, they looked in your grandmother's teeth and her hair. They saw if she had lice. They checked her for disease because she was coming from Poland or Italy or Ireland. In that period of Ellis Island, that's where the folks are coming from, Germany. And they checked them for lice and different diseases, and they quarantined them if they so were infected. And then they did biometrics. They did fingerprints. They took pictures, and they assigned them a number. And sometimes they changed their name from Lichtenstein to Lee, and from Osamu to Sam, and things like that. So, so that's what's funny, because if we actually did Ellis Island today, liberals' heads would explode, because it would be all called oppressive and racist. Wait, you're the one who brought up Ellis Island. So anyway, fun stuff. One of my favorite topics. But we're not here to talk about that per se. Although I will say to Raymond, yes, saw Small Axe. Amazing. Yeah, man, really great. We want to watch it again. It was so good. It was, for those of you folks who don't know, Steve McQueen is a fantastic director. Englishman, man of African descent. I believe his parents are Nigerian. I can't remember. But he did 12 Years a Slave. And he did Widow, which I haven't seen, but I understand it's a really great movie with Viola Davis and a bunch of great people. So Steve McQueen's this great director. Yes, being in the film world and your name is Steve McQueen gets a lot of people confused. But he's very well known at this point. And he did this anthology. It's on Amazon, as Raymond's pointing out. It's called Small Axe. And it's these wonderful short films. I mean, short. I think the shortest one's 40 minutes or something. Maybe the longest one is almost 2 hours. But they're short, you know. An hour, I think, is the average of all of them. And really good. And just snapshots of Black Caribbean life in London, in England, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe up to the 80s. But really, really wonderful cinematography and a snapshot of English people you don't see. You know, growing up in the States, you see English people and it's Benny Hill and it's Monty Python, and you don't realize how many black and brown people are in England for centuries. There's some fantastic books about this topic, and a really interesting topic because you know, we get the whitewashed history, but this Small Axe, Steve McQueen, enough said. Raymond, also there's this wonderful woman who's a director and a writer. Michaela Coel is her name, like Michael with an A on the end. Michaela Coel, Coel. Look her up. She's done an amazing series called I May Destroy You, which is on, I think it's on HBO. But that's incredible. That's another one that's a great snapshot of people of color in London, in you know, just showing the diaspora of people on this planet, and how, you know, we tend to think there's only the Black American voice, you know, which is an incredible voice, an important voice, a voice I'm listening to daily. Black artists who are Americans, of course, and not only from hip hop, if we're talking about music, but in all the other arts, in cinematography and in painting and writing and, you know, architecture, all kinds of arts. But we tend to not, you know, think about black people from Brazil who have a lot to say, or black people from England and the Caribbean, and who are still in a lot of these African countries. There's some incredible films. There's a Criterion series of films made in Africa, African directors. So, yeah, this is the time, folks, to look around the planet and recognize how much amazing art is happening from everywhere. So thank you, Raymond, bringing up Small Axe. Of course, it's a nod to the Bob Marley song as well. Scott, yeah, that stuff really gets to you on the sharks. That's right. You go down there and visit them, you crazy motherfucker. You're down there scuba diving. I'll just watch the video. Thanks. great video of worms in the garden. How do you send it to me, Jack? Facebook message. You can message that to me, or you can email it, I guess. thinkelectronic@gmail.com. But yeah, that sounds awesome. We've got some great worms happening too. We've been digging up the compost, and in fact, in about an hour or so, I'll be doing some compost work. So always we need regulation, Sharon. Yes. Sabine says Great Barrier Reef dying. Yeah. So the good news is some of these reefs are coming back this last year. Did you see that? I mean, we started seeing this stuff months ago. Funny how they stopped reporting on all that, right? Like you'd think there'd be like a monthly report of like, hey, this forest came back, or more reefs, or more ecosystem cleanup over in the Los Angeles hills because 80% of the driving ended, or I don't know. Those seems to be good news. Yeah. So the Great Barrier Reef, yeah. Sharon won't be watching. Yeah, it's upsetting. It's a shame. I mean, you're telling other people about it. You're advocating it, and you're living a plant-based, lifestyle. So that's all we can do, right? Is do our own thing. So I'm sure you're telling other people to watch it though, because that's what we got to get the word out there. But yeah, it's very upsetting. I wish it was more upsetting for the people who needed to see it, But that's it. There's a lot of denial. Brexit, yes, very largely Brexit is about fishing rights and the stuff off the eastern coast of England. I was reading about that. Man, crazy. I May Destroy You is indeed awesome. There's foreigners here. Watch the swear words. Uh-oh. What, I lose track. What did I... Because it offends the foreigners, or because they're going to learn the bad words in English? I'm not sure on that. So, Seaspiracy. Okay. That's a curse word right there. Okay, let me make sure there's any other questions. Okay, YouTube is quiet with questions. I'm liking this new camera, folks. What do you think? It's a little warmer. Yeah, that's funny. You sad motherfucker, and I'm eager to learn more. Okay, you said motherfucker, yeah. Okay. Well, I figure y'all are seeing all the movies, right? You see, if Deadpool is allowed in other countries, then you've heard all the words, or anything with Samuel L. Jackson. That's great. So getting one of my other topics, I wanted to make sure. We've had one question so far on gardening. Does anyone have any? I'm no expert. I just know what we're starting. I got a bunch of starters the other day, and some hot peppers. We found some organic starters, and there's going to be our farm market opening soon, and they always have little stuff. And we're also germinating from scratch. By we, I mean Robin, who got a bunch of great seeds and was germinating for several weeks now on the window. So we have a bunch of stuff that we're growing from seed, and really going to push the envelope this year. Eggplants, peppers, cukes, tomatoes, like 6 different types. Scallions, potatoes again, a couple types of squash. I think there's a snap pea or something in there. That's the important thing too. If you can grow your own protein, that's some true freedom, right? And then we got our whatchamacallit, rain barrel. We have one. I'm going to get another one because that's another thing too. Collecting rainwater and using that to water stuff has been great. Been doing that for a few years. So there's all these little things, and these are, the little investments that I can make along the way, to save money, really. Because if it comes, it pays for itself. Last summer, we hardly bought cherry tomatoes because we had so many of them happening, So that's kind of the message. Sabine says there's a project from not environmental, not NGOs. Okay, free seed change. Okay, wow, that's great. So free seeds exchange, great. Sharon says sugar snap peas. Yeah, those are great. But trying to grow some other proteins. Let's see. That looks great, and bum 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 bum. Let's see. Okay, that's great. That's great news, though, on a seed exchange. We've got like some book exchanges in the neighborhood, but yeah, the seed exchange is a pretty cool idea. That's awesome. So I'm really bad at announcing my guests, but I have a couple of guests coming up. Two of them, and we're just scheduling it. Definitely we'll have one of these next week. We've got a vegan bodybuilder who is old friend of mine, and she's a photographer, like a professional photographer who has become a bodybuilder. So we're gonna talk to someone about that and doing it plant-based. Let's see, where do I have that? So there's that, and then we've also got someone from a farm sanctuary, local farm sanctuary, that's going to. We're going to have this person visit and talk about farm sanctuaries, which are everywhere around the country and really, really blowing up. I read an article about, for some reason, they were much more prevalent in the past year. A lot of people, I don't know what urged that, but a lot of people supporting these rescue groups and these sanctuary farms. For some reason, they've been blowing up. Who knows? Anyone have any idea? Maybe people have more time to, take their kids and looking for cool hobbies, and one of them is, maybe adopting a rabbit, adopting a turkey or something. I don't know what I don't know what about last year made this blow up, but but they're saying that it did. So, so that's coming up. So. Fries Satgut for all. Is that free seeds for all? Very cool. Okay, yeah, free seeds for all. Wow, I love it. Just love it. Yeah, I know it's not a perfect society over there, Sabine, but I just love how much simple, positive stuff gets done. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. That's pretty cool. So, so I'll be sharing some pictures as we go along. Right now, we've just got some flowers planted and got some just little seedlings happening of all the different things I just said. But definitely going to do some updates as we go along, and I'm the compost guy. So I did some we just put down some little stones to kind of structure a certain area of the yard. But I'm the compost guy, and I've cultivated a compost pile out here for 14 years. So we have this amazing, rich garden soil. But a bunch of times during the year, really got to turn the whole thing and get it aerated. And it's amazing, though. Just a big pile of just black soil that was manufactured from mango skins and coffee grounds and apple cores and corn husks and just you name it, the waste of onion skins and banana peels and walnut shells. I'm still continuing fascinated that no matter what, it all turns back into black soil. I mean, that's some heavy shit psychologically, right? Ashes to ashes and all that. But to actually see it and then take the soil and be able to grow new food out of it is really amazing. Okay, no patents on seeds. Yes, I've been on that fight for years, right, with the GMO. This is great. Okay, so this is the European Patent Office and people fighting to protect. I love it. Thank you, Sabine. No patents on plants and animals. I know, that's the GMO nightmare. I can't believe there's some people that think GMO is, simply this harmless thing that brought us non-bitter spinach. Nonsense. Yeah, that's great. Where is this? Is this a German group? It looks okay. Yeah, it looks like it is. Yeah, keine Patent auflegen, aufleben. Yeah, and we just got so much shit to worry about, so much stuff to fight. And here in the U.S., we're just trying to not get shot. Then we can get back to fighting the GMOs, but it's like, all right, let me just not get shot. Let me just not get pulled over and pulled out of my car. And I'm doing, knock on wood, with some wood, doing pretty well there by moving to the South where it just doesn't happen as much. Knock on wood. The cops are pretty good here as they go. But my heart goes out to, and what the fuck, Minnesota, right? You can't get further north. And we have this narrative that it's the South we got to worry about. Can't get further north than Minnesota. And they keep lighting shit up. But yeah, I'd like to be able to focus on seed patents and organic food. And I get that whole discussion that's very elitist and, but I think there's more people that need to survive and thrive and eat well than we're seeing, bad police crimes. So, Antoine Shashuk, how are you, my friend? Let's see. Sharon says, composters spontaneous grew its own tomatillos. Yeah, right, because there's seeds. Yes, I always have stuff sprouting up in my compost. Had some scallions not long ago, which was awesome. Curfew in Minneapolis, yeah. As soon as Prince died, Minneapolis fell the fuck apart, right? Yeah. Well, I know. So, some other people I gotta try to get on the show is now that we're warming up and the stuff's starting to happen here in our town. We've got the food trucks are starting to happen, and we're a tourist town. So while they're rushing things a bit, some things are opening up safely in some of the breweries and stuff. But there's these folks I wanted to highlight locally. If anyone's ever visiting Asheville, I've heard these guys are really good. We have amazing veg food, but this is a place called The Trashy Vegan Food Truck, and that's just what they are. It's like junk food. You know, here's the vegan cheeseburger with Violife cheese, the Impossible Patty, and everything else. Crazy, right? I mean, again, it's not my favorite thing, but I love it. I love that they're just saying, you know what? Some people like to get drunk and then have a big cheesy quesadilla, and they like animals also. I love that. I love that there's really a market here, folks, for whatever. So, but I'm hearing great things about this food truck. Might try them out sometime in the summer. That looks good, like a kind of a quesadilla type thing. Look at that fat. Who doesn't love fat? So there we have it. And they have a couple. Their charming thing is to put a rat, like a ratatouille kind of a vibe. I don't know how attractive that is actually, but. But yeah, if that's your vibe, classic American greasy burger with, yeah, you know, it's not my thing, but yeah, they love the rat thing. Waffle fries with their vegan sauce. So again, super popular here, folks. I'm gonna try to do an in-person test of this place, but I'll pick something that I could, like, that doesn't attract me, just like stupid, you know, white flour bun and greasiness. But I get it. I probably have one of their quesadillas or something. But another huge trend, right, folks? There's just kind of the junky vegan thing. You know, I love that it's happening. I mean, you know, it just gives the rest of us some options when we're drunk. Look at this. They have beef and cheese egg rolls. Man, I tell you, that is, what planet are we on, right? Where there's plant-based junky fried food. I mean, it just is what it is. But do you have that happening in your town too? I mean, that these are popping up in L.A., New York, all around, these kind of fast food, kind of veg places. You know, so pretty soon I'll be adding some of the outdoor footage, folks, as I said. Not only here and some gardening, but going out and maybe visiting some stuff like the Trashy Vegan, and we also have Gypsy Queen locally, which is a incredible food truck that does not all vegetarian by any means, but it's Middle Eastern, so there's a ton of baba ganoush, hummus, and different soups and things, and you know, falafel, and then she does some chicken and things like that. But that's another favorite. And we were just realizing yesterday that we have not really supported takeaway food this year. Just keeping it tight, keeping it on a budget. But the couple times we did, we got something from these folks. This is macadus, which is the pickled baby eggplant stuffed with walnuts and chilies. And yeah, Susie does some really great stuff when she travels to Lebanon, which obviously very sad, kind of tragic. Photos of a bombed out place. But this is a woman from Lebanon, so she does a lot of support work there as well. So that's always cool to plug into a business where you know you're helping someone that's got another positive connection. There's Susie, our dear friend, Susie Salwa Phillips, who's the brilliant chef and cook and business mind behind Gypsy Queen. So that's, one of the awesome things we get at the farm market. She's usually set up at the farm market and has her, that's great. They changed the logo to put the mask on there. But just getting to be that season where, we can get out a little bit more, and hopefully you've got some cool choices like this nearby. And hopefully you like your Middle Eastern food because it's so simple, so easy to make. Well, I don't know if it's simple, but yeah, they do have some meat here. That's a chicken soup, but largely it's veg sandwiches, and here's a za'atar sandwich with that one does have mortadella. They have a veg version. There you go. There's the bomb right there. Tomatoes and olives. I'm in. Good stuff. So just some ideas. I might, we have some baba ganoush that our brilliant chef made. And I think I might have that for finishing up a lot of like half finished stuff. But the baba ganoush I think is on the list. Yeah, some soup, some baba ganoush, some salad. Antoine. Let's see. What's up, Antoine? Need to come out to Chicago. That sounds like your kind of food. Yeah. I know. Well, you got some good trucks in Chicago. Sharon says Guinness animal ingredient. They got rid of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yes, they used to use isinglass, which is like a gelatin from fish bladders. And what you do is you have an industrial amount of it. It's very thin layer of it that you put on this. Picture a swimming pool full of Guinness, because there is. But you still need to get the particles and the brewing particulates and the little tiny bits of roasted grain and stuff. They need to filter that out. And it's actually a pretty brilliant method. They would use this fish bladder, this isinglass, and you put it on top of the Guinness, and it's viscous, so it stays together, but it's heavier than the Guinness. So over the course of, 3 or 4 days, the swimming pool filled with Guinness, this isinglass sinks to the bottom. This heavier gelatin stuff sinks to the bottom, pulling with it all the particles and leaving just this smooth, pure Guinness. So it's an interesting one because it's not in the beer. It doesn't dissolve into the beer. It stays chemically inert and it goes through. So then it becomes, is it in my beer or did it just touch my beer? And yeah, it's an interesting question. So for years, anyone who drank Guinness, and I like a Guinness once in a while, but they did get rid of that last I checked. So please verify that. But I thought they got rid of the isinglass. So let's see. So yeah, is this article saying it's there today? So first off, this article is from June 2018. So who knows? Okay, and yeah, right off the bat, they bring up isinglass. Yeah, and that's the stuff. So this may be an older art. They may have solved it since then. But yeah, they're saying exactly what I just described, right? You use this this gelatin agent to purify. Yeah. So, but yeah, you definitely want to look at all these other beers. Like it says, Newcastle, Foster's, and certain wines are using this purification. So, but yeah, last I checked, Guinness had removed that. So, not that I'm a big Guinness guy, but I like a good Guinness, especially if I'm in. Let's see. Guinness is changing its recipe for the first time in 256 years. There we go. Beer-loving vegans will now be able to sip or chug the black stout, starting in 2016. So it's before that article, actually, when fish guts will be removed from Guinness ingredients. Guinness contains isinglass, a gelatinous fish byproduct used to clarify the beer and help yeast settle. While most is filtered out during brewing, traces still exist in the final pint. This is news to us, since the isinglass does not affect the taste of the beer. So, Guinness seems like other breweries have not followed suit per se, but that's good news. I'll put that in the chat. Guinness removed isinglass. Dream of opening a vegan diner, event space where everything's not labeled. Yeah, that's been I think there's a place in New York that does that. Yeah, I think so. That's right. Oh, so egg whites. Sometimes blood is used, but yeah, there's a diner in New York City, I believe, that's that doesn't it doesn't say vegan on the front of it or something, but if you know, you know. But if you're walking by, you might go, hey, let's just hit the city diner or whatever it's called, and they do milkshakes and egg creams and stuff that you would fries and burgers. So you might actually order stuff. I'm not sure people will know, but you could, go get onion rings and yeah. So that's it. Yeah, that's a thing. Who's gone eating out? Because I haven't. Is anyone? I'm not changing that much. And by the way, I've talked about it here before. I can say officially I am, let's see, 4 or 5 days. I got vaccinated a couple of days ago, last Thursday, folks. So I'm 4 days away. Yes, Friday. Yeah, 4 days in, and I feel fine. 24 hours later, I had some fatigue, and kind of like the fatigue you get from the flu, but I didn't have the flu symptoms. But that was a great excuse to have a good midday nap. But otherwise, yeah, no side effects. My arm was sore. Let's see. If I really press down, I can feel it. But yeah, the most bothersome thing is they didn't ask me for my ID, which bothered me. So how can I prove later that I got the vaccine if that's where we're headed with theaters and airlines and stuff? They never asked me for my ID. I later learned that other places in North Carolina are asking, and I learned that I have friends in New Jersey, New York. What other state did I check? I can't remember. Connecticut, Illinois. Scott, did you get asked for ID? Anyone else out there? Did they ask you for ID during the shot? Because I'd like to know. The new udon shop is open now. Which one? Oh, so tell me about that. We love udon. Sabine, yes, some of us did. So what? You don't have? You have some availability issues for your age group, Sabine? So Kevin says you get a card afterward. That's very nice, but did you have to show ID? Because the card is just a card you're giving someone. That doesn't prove who you are, right? So Kevin, did you get asked for ID? Because that's huge. So Scott had to show an ID, yes. Antoine didn't ask for ID, but had paperwork on my friend. Okay, so it seems like it's haphazard. Sounds like this is the second state I'm hearing, maybe the third state, where some people said they did, some people said they didn't. I don't get it, folks. Either you're asking for ID or you're not. If they're going to send us down a road of vaccine passports, which I get on a certain level, I'm fine with even on a certain level, but it doesn't work unless you're asking for ID. It's like going to get your driver's license and not having to prove who you are, and they just kind of say, yeah, just fill that out and we'll give you a license, a state document with all this info on it based on something you filled out. No, you have to prove identity to get a passport, to get a driving license, open a bank account, any number of things. So, interesting. Scott, good luck, man, on the interview. Thanks, bro. We'll definitely talk later on. So Antoine says, I think all they care about is giving you the vaccine and you have the card to prove it. Yeah. The problem is there's all these layers of volunteers and all this stuff. So we have a broken system. We have this government system that isn't uniform throughout the country. And so we have volunteers here and professionals over there. I heard they were giving vaccines here at the Red Roof hotel not far from here. A friend of mine works at Red Roof. He's like, yeah, what's that? CVS, Walgreens, at least they're drugstores. But you're getting these in bowling alleys and community centers, all kinds of stuff. So you have people who aren't, all on the same training level. So Antoine, to your point, yes, they want to get the vaccine out. And that's again, I could see that it's working. We have the data from the country with the highest percentage of their population who's been jabbed, Israel, right? They've got, I forget the number, 80 or more percent. And they've now have a few months of, okay, let's look at side effects, let's look at results. And they're showing that these vaccines reduce your capacity to catch this virus. In some reports, they're saying that it stops you completely from catching it. But certainly it makes it way, way tougher to catch it and then pass it on, which is a way out of this. This is a highly infective situation. I can't believe I still know people that deny this, that think it's not real and they're just not sure. I also love that there's people who will put Nexium into their bodies, Pepsid AC. They'll put beta blockers. They'll put whatever drug their doctor hands them. They will buy meth in a truck stop, certain people. They will buy, I have hippie friends who will buy any kind of acid or bag of mushrooms or anything, put their lips on a joint that they don't even know this dude, right? You've seen it. People who will buy a burrito from the shadiest looking van, dude who has not washed his hands in 4 days. You know this at the Fish concert, at the Grateful Dead concert. And people will buy shit, they'll eat it, they'll take drugs, they'll do all this stuff. And then it comes to this and they're like, I don't know what's in it. I don't trust it. Who knows what's in that? I love that. So, if you're, it's, oh boy. So Sharon says everyone posts their vaccine card pics. Yeah, there's been some criticism of that because that's personal information. Talk about HIPAA. If you post it with all the stuff, codes and stuff. I had a friend hold one up that had his address on there. I'm like, dude, that's too much info, right? Your birth date, your address, and your vaccine code. TMI. In fact, just even me talking about it publicly here is kind of TMI. I'm doing this because, I have a couple dozen people who hang out here. But you notice I'm not posting any social media about it. I think it's an overshare on some level. I think, call me a hypocrite, but I think it's relevant to our chat because our chat's about health and immunity and a natural lifestyle and how this bumps up against that. I'm problematic about it, but we're in a burning airplane, so I did it. So, okay, Kevin's saying they did ask you for ID and paperwork. Okay, great. So then that card they gave you after is a binding government document. I'm sorry to hear that, Antoine, that you end up feeling like shit. All they care about is giving some people driving 3 or 4 hours away. Yeah, I had friends who traveled that. In Chicago, there's a lot of immigrants and sometimes no proper ID with them, especially in the city. There's a lot of people. I mean, that's why. Well, you gotta have ID. I'm an ID guy, and I'm an immigrant. Get some ID. I know this is a real sore area for some people, but it's how a society works, or it's one of the things it runs on. ID protects you. Sometimes they're looking for somebody, and you could show it's not you. That mostly applies to young black youth, but and middle-aged black youth. I've had times where my ID has been the thing to help me out, but we just got to get ID. And if you're an immigrant, then you should be legal here. And once you're legal, we can help you get an ID. That's all. It's so simple. And if you can't afford ID, let's help you. And if you have obstacles to your ID, paperwork is lost, or you're an American but you were born in a turnip field and 85 years ago and there's no birth certificate, then let's help you. Let's figure this out. So that we keep grinding our wheels on identification. Yet every other working modern democracy has a really robust ID system, often much better than ours, with biometrics, with digitized cards, with chips in the card, all kinds of things like that. And I get it. I'm as much of a X-Files and Millennium and Twilight Zone and Black Mirror fan as anyone else. I get it. Believe me. Brazil and the Matrix. I get it. I get the Big Brother aspect of stuff that clouds our minds with this stuff. But there's also functional societies. And I guess because you know what it is? I guess because I work around the planet so much. I've worked on 5 continents. I'm always flying in and out. I'm always dealing with borders. I'm always dealing with customs and visas. And I'm always dealing with security. I'm always having to get into highly securitized venues and opera houses, and I'm just in this world where it's really important to identify someone so they're not putting us in compromised positions or less than perfect safety. Us being production crew, artists, things like that. So I just see so much of what can go wrong when someone does not have ID or when there's counterfeiting and things like that. So in my world, in my professional world, in production and music and, audio, video production, whatever gig I might be on, it's so incredibly securitized, if that's the word, using identification, that I guess I've gotten to a place where there's just no excuse. So both with ID and as we're heading towards in state after state voting, we should help people clean up their ID situation. I'm here to help. I want my tax dollars to help people with that ID. That's how consistent I am. I will pay for it. So, Sabine, on the vaccines, you said age group. So funny. Priority group 1 is done. That's nurses over 80. Now it's police. Kindergarten. I love that because that word's already German. Kindergarten workers Schools over 70. So you fall between the cracks, right? Social workers priority 3. People your age are the last. Oh, man. Okay, but you might get it earlier. Kids. Yeah. That's a tough one, and obviously I know that the EU kind of messed up on some of the ordering, right? The EU in general suffered from attempts to really, bargain on the price, and that wasted some time. So, yeah. Fried clams, Howard Johnson's. Okay. Post that damn sticker as a pic. Oh, you mean the sticker that I that I had on my saying I got the shot. Hey, Todd Reynolds, here's to the couple dozen. The couple dozen. I'm moving too fast. What was there a couple dozen of? Remind me. I know I just said it, but a couple dozen. Travel informs perspective. Yeah. Yeah, that's it right there. The funny part is a lot of people have the opportunity to travel. A lot of people have the disposable income, and they have, they're living a comfortable enough middle class life, and they go on vacations around the USA, but they won't leave the country. And some of them, it's a nervousness. I've got a friend who swears that the government will grab him at the border because of things he's said, But then you have people who just don't like to go somewhere. I don't get it. But then I say travel online. Go watch a documentary about some other people, some other countries. It's it's not hard. That's why I get so frustrated. It's not hard to learn things today, but you have to learn that learning is good. There it is, right? That's not a popular thing where we are. You should just have the need to register and therefore get an idea, like in Germany. Problem solved. I love it. Exactly, Sabine. What can we say? This fucking place is a joke. Sorry, I'm cursing again. Todd, yes, okay. A couple dozen folks who hang out here. Yeah, and glad to have you be one of them on this fine day, my friend. Okay, Sabine, that's a good point. The U.S. is not delivering, but using the vaccines to themselves. Yeah. We've got some distribution issues, yes, and we've got some stuff I just read about in Mississippi, for instance, where they got a bunch of vaccines, but a lot of people who won't take them. So they're actually trying to do some community outreach and say, look, we have 5 days that we have to use up these 20,000 shots. We better hurry up and get people in, but there's a lot of skepticism. So, oh boy. Well, the vaccine is relevant because of I've talked for a year now about your immune system and things you can do, and everyone that is here because of this idea of maybe a more natural lifestyle, a plant-based diet, natural immunity, optimizing your immunity with foods. So it goes without saying that I advocate that we should be doing that more and more and more. I'm trying to get my program in line where I'm bad unless I set the stuff out on the counter and leave it there so that every morning I go, right, take your A, your D, your B complex, vitamin C, and the multivitamin. Got it. Those are the things I take when I'm really being good. But I'm really going to, especially after getting the shot, really go back to like, hey, man, let's get the natural immunity up a few notches, and it's pretty good. I think my immune system's really good actually, but I just need to up it. So all right, I'm gonna wrap up. I wanted to keep this to about 2.5 hours. We're gonna go back to this world a little bit. I've got some video that I'm shooting later on today for my website. 7 Minutes of Synth. It's a new website that I've been working on. So we're going to do that. And we're also going to Let me remind you that my Patreon streams are getting crazy. I gotta put some samples up here for y'all, but I've been I stream 5 days a week for Patreon. Is that right? Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, 5 days a week. Might be adding to that. But if you like electronic music, if you like acoustic music, I do an acoustic performance every Sunday. I do an electronic performance every Friday night. And I do a synth workshop and tutorial and history class on Saturday nights. That's been a lot of fun. We're still in the early stages. We've jumped to the period of subtractive synthesis. So we've been talking about that, talking about Moogs and other basic synthesizers and how they're made up. We've been talking about waveforms and what is audible, what is audio range, what are audio range signals, because there's all kinds of signals, there's all kinds of audio information, electromagnetic information around us, but very little of it is in the human audible range. So we talk about that. We talk about the science and the physics of sound, and that's on Saturday nights. But then there's just a few performances, and all of those are available to people on the basic $5 a month level. As I say every time, I shied away from doing this because it felt like begging, and then I realized, it's not. I'm providing a service. I'm doing these performances. I'm doing some classes. I'm doing some history stuff. So check it out. And, if you want to, you have some questions on it, hit me up. But let's see. Do I have... What was this one? Saturday night. Yeah, so like for instance on Saturday nights, we do a hangout where we talk about synthesizers. I'm going to go, let's see, we talk about, let's see if I have some footage here that I can share. And hear them in concert. And I also point out that that was the thing in the early 70s. Most of these people had they had a reel-to-reel tape recorder, usually. If you had the economics to afford a mini Moog, you usually had a simple recorder also. Mm-hmm. So then you could do things like I just did. You could record something and then build up a So what's happening here is I've got a loaner of this incredible mini Moog. Oh man, that's been great. I've never actually had one in my possession, and it's still one of the most incredible bits of technology ever developed. But so let's see what happens with that. But one thing is it's great for teaching and talking about the basics of envelope construction and what's an oscillator and different frequency ranges and different waveforms. It's a great way to teach about LFO, low frequency oscillation, and just very graphically show how that works and how you can impact filters and VCAs with oscillation. And so this is like the Saturday night hang, and I was just making some percussion loops with kind of a short decay Moog sound, and then go back then to a couple basic sounds, looping it, and so we take questions and answers. Usually it's about
get a real feel
three
for
or four people.
The character of
by.
the sound.
And then the waveforms, sawtooth, shark tooth. Blah, blah, blah. So it gets kind of nerdy.
One of the oscillators is digital.
Fantastic.
So it does all kinds of weird sounds. And it's got a built-in effects section, chorus and delay and reverb and stuff. But,
right. No, that is Minlog XD. Yeah, it's the shit. Okay, great. So I've just got a basic. a real basic sawtooth. And what's cool is, and yours has this also. They put a little oscilloscope on there.
Yeah, it is
That's
cool.
really awesome because that really helps you. I think it's great too from a student point of view because it really helps you understand the waveforms.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, that's not quite a regular sawtooth. You can see it, right?
See that, yep.
But if I turn the shape, watch. If I turn it all the way to 0, I get a classic sawtooth. See? So that's one of the first things when you boot up. So there you have it, folks. So that's just an idea of, that's the real nerdy kind of Saturday night thing. But there's also these performances I do, and I perform all acoustic on Sundays and all electronic on Friday nights. And I'm looking at maybe doing some other stuff. Let's see if we can see that one. So, the dare not look away. You know they dare not look away. Can't look away. You never know what will pop up. Etc. So that's just a couple little random bites there of some of the weirdo shit that goes on. But the acoustic thing is, I'm getting some good stuff there because a lot of people don't don't realize how much acoustic music I've actually done over the years, and it's really great to be getting it back into into rotation. So that's all on the Patreon, and you can check out the website. It's a lot of fun, and there's a couple other things I do on there that video rewind and some chats and stuff. So I'm gonna wrap there. The tone is nice. Thank you. John Fadum, what's up, bro? It's frightening to play guitar in front of John Fadum, but there you go. And John, thank you. That means the song was at least recognizable. And Yeah, isn't that great? Pat plays that line. That's a pretty deep reference, bro. Thank you. That's pretty deep knowledge. Yeah, that was that's that weirdo Joni tuning, right? What is it? It's D G. No, C from low to high. C G D F B flat and another D. What the fuck? So that's a weird one, and but beautiful. She used that on a lot of stuff in that era. Great alternate tuning. Tough song to sing, man. That one really puts my voice to the test because it's up there. A lot of strange words to remember too. So thanks for stopping by, all of you. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, John Fadum. Good to see you, bro. It's been a while, and hope you're doing all right. So there we have it, folks. Gute Nacht. Sabine learned a lot. Get that shot or give it to me. Yeah. Yeah. If can you fly over here? Can you even visit? You could probably just walk right in to some place and get the stream. Get the shot, not the stream. Yeah, it's getting crazy. All right, folks, go save some animals. I'm gonna do that. Hopefully, I don't kill any earthworms digging up the compost. I try. Very careful.